It's been a bit of a crazy week, some very interesting results. We'll look at what we've learned or otherwise from Scott Minto a little bit later on. But say the one remaining game at Old Trafford, Manchester United versus West Ham. An important period, you feel, for Manchester United. The next four games of the next six are at home. So opportunity to climb even further up the table and get some morale-boosting wins. Let's see what the Stretford Paddock YouTube channel's very own Jay Motty makes of it. Well, hi, Jay.
Hi, lads, you okay?
Yeah, good, thanks, Jay. Bad. So, I mean, look, we've spoken to you thick and thin in recent years about what's been going on at the club. And so what's the kind of state of play at the moment? How are you feeling as a Manchester United fan going into this period?
It's a bit confusing, to be honest with you, because after the Everton game, I think I felt as low as I felt during Ruben Amorim's time. That performance against 10-man Everton was just indefensible. It really was. There was no positives whatsoever to take for him. There was no excuses for it at all. We just did not turn up against a team that was not only down to 10 men but is beatable. And then you go to the Crystal Palace game, a ground where we've struggled over the last. I think that was our first win in about 5 years there. And Palace are a good team. You know, we know what they're capable of. The players they've got. I know they had the game on the Thursday night, but they're still a good side. And that second half was much better. That was almost as good as I've seen from Manchester United under Ruben Amorim. So it is a bit confusing because on the one hand I'm thinking, this is a great opportunity now. Win tonight and we can go up to fifth. And then as you've all mentioned, we've got some winnable games, but there's still that sort of West Ham performance in the back of my mind. Sorry, the Everton performance in the back of my mind. And the fact that this Manchester United side this season has been very up and down, which is, why we're in mid-table. So I think cautiously optimistic is probably the easiest way of putting it, because whilst I think really and truly we should have enough to win, take some points from the next few games, I can't ignore what I've seen so far this season, which is a very inconsistent side.
Ruben Amorim said after Euro came off in the win at Palace that he thinks too much. The 20-year-old thinks too much. What do you think he means by that, Jay?
I'm guessing maybe he takes things to heart too much. Maybe that's what it means. I think there was a couple of mistakes in that game. Now, listen, Lenny Yoro is a fantastic footballer. I think anyone who's watched him knows he's got a very bright future ahead of him. I thought he was the only one in Bilbao against Spurs in the cup final who emerged with any credit. I thought he had a good game. I don't think anyone else did. And I think we're lucky to have him because obviously Real Madrid wanted him.
Yeah.
And he's had a few difficulties this season, I think it's safe to say, but I don't think he should take it to heart. Yes, you learn from it. I'm not saying just ignore it, but I don't think he should be too down on himself because we can all see what talent the lad's got. And this Manchester United side has been inconsistent, not because of Lenny Yoro. Everyone has been during the season. So he just needs to sort of learn from it and grow with it, but not take it too much to heart. I'm guessing that's what the manager meant. And if that's what he meant, I understand that.
Yeah.
Do you think he'll bring Cunha straight back in tonight? I mean, Mount and Xerxes have been doing well. I mean, do you think he'll just pop them straight back in, or will he stick with the guys who got the result at Palace?
If it was up to me, I'd throw Cunha straight back in. If he's fit enough to play, obviously, then I'd like to see him start because I think we're a much better side with him in it. I think we missed him. We missed him in that Everton game in particular. But we don't know with Ruben Amorim. I mean, a lot of people thought Joshua Zirkzee might get dropped after the Everton game because he didn't really have a good game. But when you look at the options he had, he decided to stick with him, and that was justified because he got the equaliser. So I think he probably will give Cunha a start, especially when you look at the amount of games we've got coming up where we are going to lose the likes of Ahmad, the likes of Brian and Bumo, and obviously, I know he's not an attacker, but Nuzar Mazraoui as well. I think now might be the time to make the most of the players you've got available.
I'm sorry, win tonight. Yeah. You could go fifth.
That's right.
It's green shoots, isn't it? Is that where you're seeing it, Jay? That what he's trying to do, he's stuck to his guns. It's paying off, isn't it?
Well, I hope so. I think the difficulty that Ruben Amorim's had so far as United manager, we've never built on anything. We had last season we had a great result at the Etihad. We didn't really build on it. We had a good performance and result at Anfield last season, the 2-2. Didn't build on it. Similarly when we won in the FA Cup at the Emirates, and then this season, I think it was only recently we actually managed to get to back-to-back Premier League wins after a year, which shows you we just haven't been able to build on it. And I think if we can finally start building on some of these performances, well, say some of them, that second half performance at Selhurst Park, then with the games we've got coming up, that gives us a massive opportunity because if after those games you're in sort of fourth or fifth, it changes the narrative for the season. You're looking at a season where you're going, okay, let's fight for Champions League football. We're in that mix. Whereas if you're sat 10th or 9th, you're thinking, oh, can we try and get into the Europa Conference? Would that be a good season? And let's be honest, despite the problems Manchester United have had, the bare minimum at this club should be aiming for Champions League football. It really should, especially when we went out in the summer and spent over 200 million quid on some very good players.
There's a lot of talk of, excuse me, spending some money in January on a midfielder, and Baleba keeps coming off, although he's going off to AFCON. And Elliott Anderson and Adam Wharton, both of those deals sound like they're going to be very, very hard to do in January. I think Oliver Glasner would walk out if they let Wharton go in January. So it's likely to be the summer. You're going to have to muddle through. They might bring in some reinforcements, but not the quality you want. How are you feeling about that?
It is a little bit of a concern because in that midfield area, we are overly reliant on Casemiro. I mean, I think he finished the game at the weekend and we needed him to, but a lot of the time he ends up coming off after 60 minutes and you can almost see the drop-off. No disrespect to someone like Manuel Ugarte, but he's not in the same class as Casemiro for me, even an aging Casemiro. Kobbie Mainoo, the manager doesn't seem to fancy him. It annoys me a little bit because I love Kobbie Mainoo. I think he's a fantastic footballer, but this manager just doesn't think he fits into this system. So we do need reinforcements, and whilst I'd love to see us go out and get someone like Elliott Anderson, who I think is having a phenomenal season, he's a very talented player, I don't think it's feasible in January because it's going to scupper Forest season. It's going to hurt them too much. So it is probably going to be the summer. I just thought we'd get it right in the summer because you mentioned there Carlos Baleba, who's been a target for United, and he's having, from what I gather, and I'm happy to be corrected, a bit of a stinker this season.
Yeah, that's because his head's been turned and he wants to go at Manchester United, I'm guessing.
Well, maybe it is, but it's still concerning if you're talking about spending £100 million, £100 million or plus on a player who's having a bad season, and this sort of hope that, it's just because his head been turned. Well, maybe it's not. Maybe he's out of form a little bit and he could struggle to regain it. So I think we've got to be careful what we do in the summer. Personally, if it was up to me, it'd be Anderson, but I think if it was someone like Adam Wharton, I don't think many United fans have been moaning about that. He's a very tight lad as well. So it is probably going to be summer. In January, there's been a few names bandied about. I've seen on talkSPORT, other places, maybe Conor Gallagher, someone like that. He's okay. I'm not exactly...
It's quite a cheap option, isn't it? I think it's 20 million quid, 30 million quid.
It feels like a stopgap. I mean, personally, I'd like to see Kobbie Mainoo get some minutes, but it just doesn't like it's going to happen.
I mentioned AFCON there, and you're going to use Mbeumo, lose him, and Ahmad and Mazraoui as well. I mean, certainly Mbeumo, you kind of feel he's going to be a huge miss for you. Ahmed, really. I mean, all three of them are playing a role in the team, so it's going to be a tough old month. And players often, we're going to talk to Kwaku about this later, players come back from AFCON and often they're not the same. You know, it's like playing a World Cup in the middle of the season and having to pick it all up again domestically.
Yeah, it's kind of uncharted territory for us United fans. I know we lost Andre Onana for a few games last season, but we don't tend to have many players that go to the AFCON, and it's like our entire right-hand side has gone to the AFCON or going to the AFCON, which is going to be something that Ruben Amorim's going to have to cope with. You mentioned there Brian Mbeumo, who's almost become a bit of a talisman over the last sort of several weeks. Ahmad's been very reliable, and Nuzar Mazraoui, we saw it at the weekend, he came on and he's just solid. He does a very good job almost every time he puts on a United shirt. So, yeah, we are going to feel the effects of that. But we did spend some money in the summer. Hopefully Benjamin Sesko can be back by the time Brian Mbeumo goes out. Cunha's coming back in as well. We do have some talented youngsters as well. There's talk of Shea Lacey maybe getting a little bit of a chance, which I think a lot of United fans would love to see. So hopefully we can cope with it. And the plus point, if I'm looking for a positive, is I don't think it's until the City game, which is like mid-January, where we're facing one of the really top teams. So hopefully we'll be okay, but there's no denying you're going to miss three players of that quality, definitely.
Yeah. Nice one, Jay. We'll catch up with you soon. All the best.
Cheers, lads.
There's Jay Motty there from Stretford Paddock, and that game live on talkSPORT tonight. Natalie Sawyer, your host for that. Joe Shannon and Leanne Sanderson, your commentary team at Old Trafford. And no Paquetá, of course, for West Ham.
West Ham, yeah.
There's two yellows. We'll have a chat with Tim Vickery about that. I'm sure that was fairly big news over in Brazil. That meltdown and the subsequent statement he put out afterwards.
But I fancy West Ham tonight. I fancy them to win that tonight.
I must say I do fancy Man. I'd probably make hard work of it, but I could see a 2-1 to them tonight. We'll see.
If only we had a way to do score predictions.
Well,
and find out who was better at it.
H&B versus GPT coming up later on. And we are going to reflect on the game so far with Scott Minto a little bit later on. Gerwyn Price joining us for a chat. Gerwyn Price offered £200 worth of fish and chips to find that's a lot. I mean, actually, these days that's about 3 cod and chips, isn't it? Yeah. And some mushy peas.
Can I get a dandelion and burdock? No,
not a cheap tea anymore. So it's a nice tea.
Lovely.
Before
tea.
we have the British Fish and Chip Association on our backs.
Not
but
cheap, Paul.
It's not a cheap tea anymore, Charlie, is it?
No, it's not. It's a sad
anyway,
affairs.
We'll
Nothing's
find
cheap anymore, Paul. What used to be 20 quid is 50 quid.
This is my bus. It's lovely It's lovely to see you. Well, we mentioned Palace there. Can we say get well soon to our pal and friend of the show and regular guest on the show, Kevin Day, comedian. Kevin had a freak accident and has landed up in hospital. We've got some nasty injuries. So, kind of Kev's listening this afternoon. If he is, we wish him all.
He's had a fall, Paul.
I think he's at that age where you don't
tips over.
A few years ago, I would have said he'd fallen over. In this case, I'd say he's had a fall.
If you are listening, Kev, let us know if you've had a fall or if you've fallen over.
Yeah, I know he's going to say. But in all seriousness, Kev, we wish you all the very best. It's Paul Hawksbee and Charlie Baker here on talkSPORT with our very good friends at Tool Station. Pick up your wet weather essentials today. Next stop, Tool Station. And coming up next, Brian Sciaretta joins us from the States to tell us more about Celtics new manager, should I say. Not the news manager. They probably have got a news manager.
Know.
And the World Cup draw, and we'll be chatting to Andy and Benty about that from Washington later in the show.